Well, you can hear my ham radio in the background. This is a station that apparently has some traffic on it, which is if I get into an emergency. I don't know if the frequency is going to be out at Bo Republic, assuming I ever flock and make it out there. This is an alternate path that was recommended actually by Google Maps. This road is so flocking bad. I cannot believe it. You'll see on the right here, there's a looks like a footpath. Those are obviously from the cows that inhabit this area, grazing out here. There's a few in the distance. I abandoned my plan to try to make it across the cross the dry lake beds because I just don't have enough information, and I didn't do the necessary background. So every time I try something new, it actually freaking gets worse, and it's starting to piss me off. I do have to get a ham license. So I'm gonna have to do that. I know there's where I live, the Diablo Club for ham radio operators is around. It gives classes and stuff and administers the test.
Okay, want to make sure you didn't fall off the tower there or whatever you were putting up there on Wednesday, but we're good. Grant Brian's got something going there. It's going to be good.
You know what I need? I need to take 2 flocking weeks off. I need to take 2 weeks off and just explore around here. But I don't have the time because my freaking job is killing me, literally. I mean, there's 2 calves over here who are spooked.
Roger. Thank you. Have a good week. I will talk to you sooner. Clear.
You can see down there is I-80. Maybe you can see some reflections of cars down there. Over that ridge over there is probably almost for sure is Lovelock, which is
glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. The guy assumed you got
like 10 miles down the road from where I got off the highway. So basically I'm trying an alternate path over the same terrain that I was here last time. And last time it was actually easier in the initial stages. It was the later stages when I took that route, which I thought was a shortcut. It turned out that the roads were very bad, and I abandoned my trailer. So I'm going back today without my son to try to rescue the trailer, assuming, and that would be assuming a lot, somebody hasn't picked it up and taken off with it, which is what I expect to have happened. I mean, I'm sure there's very little traffic out there, but I've been gone for several months, and people that are industrious enough to get back there are certainly industrious enough to use a perfectly good, cheap trailer. So that's what I'm expecting, and I'm not expecting very much. I may have to spend the night out here, which I didn't plan to do, if I don't get out there sooner than this road would indicate is going to happen. But within about half a mile here, I should be hooking up with another road, which I pray to the good Lord, Jesus Christ, is better than this, because this is not a road. This is not even a path. When you drive parallel to mountains, what happens is that you go over all the drainage canals that is produced by water coming down. They're rocky substances, since we're really in the foothills of those mountains over there. You know, the erosion hasn't really affected the rock too much, moved jagged rock out here, so it's just a disaster. And that's why I'm trying to find a way over the lake beds, which isn't choked with thistles and brambles and
in 600 feet, slight right.
600 feet, slight right. It better be slight right to a nice frickin' road, woman. God darn it. You know, it's frustrating because my optimism is almost universally unwarranted, and everything that I think I can do turns out to be 10 times harder than I think it should be, because I do not take into consideration
Slight right.
the truth of the situation. This is in the middle of nowhere. There's not regular traffic here. So why I thought this would be any easier than last time, I have no idea. And I didn't take the time to actually, you can hear the bushes here rubbing against the bottom here, which is not bad, I guess. I don't see a road here. It looks like it ends, quite frankly, right here, but maybe that's supposed to be the road.
Continue for 1.5 miles.
I think this is supposed to be the road right here now. So here we go, onto this, which I assume is, yeah, it looks like it's more of a road than that was. Actually, the road looks like it's right, it looks like I'm on a parallel again to another road. So this path leads here, and then the road looks, well, what the path that's more drivable is right there, and I have to get over this berm here, but this car is not, you know, this is not a real four-wheel drive car. And since I don't live in an area where I use a four-wheel drive car that often, I thought I would compromise by getting a car that is able with all-wheel drive to, and a little higher than your standard car these days. Your standard car these days is so low to the ground that I'm gonna have to just bust it right here, and it's gonna hit the bottom, but well, I might have to dig myself out now. Alrighty. That did not work as planned, so we'll try to find an easier ford. I mean, I could pull out the pickaxe and the shovel and make one, but you know, I don't even know whose property I'm on. I mean, I could be driving over somebody's property and I'm not really allowed here. I can't be, you know, digging up their property. I think that this stupid GPS put me on a trail parallel to the one, it looks like it right here. I can get through there. So this is where I'm gonna make it through. Ugh, Jesus Christ. God almighty Lord. Thank you, Lord. Alrighty, here we are on a road that is better, but not by much. You know, I have no time in this world. That's the problem. I would actually enjoy this if I had any freaking time in the world, but I don't. I gotta be in Los Angeles all next week, so I gotta let's see, today's the day after Thanksgiving, Friday. I gotta prepare for being down in Los Angeles all this coming week, get my suits ready and everything, and just, you know, relax. I mean, Thanksgiving was not relaxing for me, quite frankly, because I was actually preparing to come out here. Well, here we are at the crest. This is where we were before, my son and I. And we're very happy to have been here because we crested the mountains, the pass. At that time I didn't get out of the car, so I just wanted to get out and take a look. Just like before, you can see down there that there is a dry lake bed. And the road we're going down, or I'm going down, is right there. That's great. So here we are. Last time I actually went further up. I think I went up that hill over there. Now what I'm going to go do is look for that, I'm going to look for the target that I set up. I wonder if these are my tire tracks from last time I was here. I never did discover whether there were rattlesnakes here or not. So the car is up there, but I think it was up there last time. See, this is the waste matter of something. It doesn't look like an herbivore. My question is, you know, what is it made of? Like, what's this? This looks like it has hair in it, right? Or is it? Yeah, I think that's hair and bone. I think. So this must be some sort of predator. Unless I'm looking at some sort of... Now that looks like it's almost plant matter. It actually looks more like hair matter. Interesting. I'm not smart enough to know. I believe this is where it was, people. I believe this is where we were shooting at. And somebody's been here and took it. Obviously it didn't walk away by itself. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I'm just not remembering correctly. The sky is turning a interesting color of cloudy. So I think this is where we were shooting. And I think somebody took the target, which is pretty incredible to me. Not because I should expect it to be here. If somebody were to find it, I'd expect them to take it. That's what I would do, I think, in the middle of nowhere. But the fact that somebody actually came to this point in space and time at this location and found something that was rather small. Okay, that answers that. Now this is interesting, something I did not see before. This is obviously some sort of wall to direct rain water. Oh no, there it is. There's the target. Let me see, yep, there it is. So let's see. I thought it was right there, but it's really about 75 steps over here. Actually, it's 25 steps. There it is. Yeah, we were definitely shooting from over there. Okay. So what's the plan, you ask? The plan now is to try to see if the trailer's still there. And that's going to be quite the trek. It's going to be unpleasant. Well, there are the mountains. So I think there's like 2 ridge lines of mountains to where I was before. Due west from here. Due west from here. I don't know what due west from here would be. I was trying to come up from over there and cross those mountains and drive up here and then come over here. But it was not to be. Now last time my son and I were out here, we drove to where we left the trailer and then we had to drive back. But we actually passed 2 residents, basically 2 people living out here. I wonder if they're still here or they only come out for the summertime. I mean, getting groceries must be a son of a bitch, man. Last time I was here, there was a dude sitting there, and there was a tarp over that frame. And he had a old Toyota pickup truck, 4-wheel drive, sitting out in front as well. So I don't think he's here now. I wouldn't go in there looking for him if I thought he was, though. Probably get blown away. Yeah, look at the tarps down. Doesn't look like he's been here. He'll be back though. Well, good people, this should be fun. I think the last time I was here I said I think this will be interesting. But I have to say, this car, I bought this car, it was already over 15 years old, had over 160,000 miles on it, and although there are a few things wrong with it, this thing drives like a freaking dream. It's unbelievable. This thing is so tight. Rock solid, man. I don't think the new X5s are as rugged as this one was, because this one's bigger than, or at least it looks bigger. It looks taller anyway. And I've never actually owned a nice car in my life. And the first nice car, well, I did buy back in 2000. The year 2000, I think, or 2001, I bought a 2001 Jetta with a sports package and VR6, and that was a really nice car, and it was great. Of course, living in San Francisco, it got broken into 8 times or 7 times, and then one day there was a club behind where we lived, and somebody just, I don't know if they were high on something, but they just ravaged the cars that were parked on the block I was parked on. They kicked in my doors, they broke the windshield, they jumped up and down on the roof, they kicked in the trunk, and then my significant other, while driving it, because it still drove really well, somehow she managed to roll the vehicle in a single person vehicle accident. Literally rolled the car over. And I had been driving, since I was 16, 17. And she had only started driving when in her 30s, really. She was afraid to drive all her life. And then all of a sudden she has to drive for work. And then she just becomes this crazy one behind the wheel after she acclimates. And somehow she managed on a freeway with nobody around her, by her own admission, nobody around her, tumble the car, roll the car. There might have been something with the suspension that was bad, because when I drove that car very hard, because it had a little sport suspension and it had a V6 in it, and it was a pretty little car. But this is the nice, luxury car I've ever actually owned. And of course, I bought it, 15, 16 years after it was new. And I'm just impressed as hell. But I'd have to say this. Do not buy BMWs unless, one, you understand how expensive it is to maintain it. That's no joke. Just to get a key made for this, they wanted $500 to program the key. So I had to go research how to program the key, get a computer to program it, and then of course you still have to get it cut. That costs, whatever, $80 or whatever. So anything on these cars is ridiculous, and there are cheap parts on it, that'll break. There's plastic all over the car. So, stuff like your window holders and stuff like that. Like I had to fix my driver's side window because it fell out of the frame, and it's not just some easy thing. You have to rip out the inside lining, get the proper tools and all this stuff, and then get the parts, which are relatively cheap on eBay because they're cheap, they're garbage, and then replace it. But if I wanted that changed at a dealership, and the funny thing is I want to get the key. Not only were they going to charge me $500, but I had to come in with my registration and everything and prove it was my car with the current address that I currently live at, and my license had to match. And I'm like, everything on this car I fixed myself. There are tons of YouTube videos out there. It's kind of hard to find ones that are well produced or whatever. But there are a few, I'll tell you that. And some guys that take the time to actually produce a decent video, they're lifesavers. And of course, I got the Bentley manual. I have a VW bus, a 1973 VW bus, and I have a 1967 custom project car I'm working on, Type 3 VW. And you go on these forums, VW forums, particularly the Samba.com. And you ask a stupid question, and the first response is buy a Bentley. So first thing I did was bought a Bentley. It wasn't cheap, but I got it. Last time I was at this intersection with my son, I decided to go up, make a right. It looked flat to me, and the mountains looked like a pass. It looked like it was low. And the road looks kind of level, And it turned out that was the dumbest mistake I could have ever made. Unless this is where I left my trailer. I don't think so. So what happened is we followed this road, and this road gets progressively worse. Progressively worse. I took a picture of this when I was here, and it's really, in real life, it's really, really pink. Some sort of oxidation or something. You'll get these dark colors here, and then these kind of pinks, and then the sunlight is vibrant. Took a picture, it didn't come out well. You couldn't tell. Anyway, we followed this road up, It kept on going up that valley, and it must have been an old mining road because there was mining equipment up there. And the road near the top basically just fell away. It wasn't. I would be willing to try it. I mean, it had been eroded away to a great extent. But I think I could have managed. It was on a steep hill, but steep cliff, not cliff, but a side of a mountain. And I think I would have tried, but for the fact that I had my son there, and I already felt panicked by the fact that we had blown a tire, and I was using the spare. The tires I had at the time were junk. I had gotten them online from, and ultimately they were from like Vietnam or something. And my son is disabled. He's got cerebral palsy. Oh, this is beautiful. He's got cerebral palsy. He couldn't have walked out of here with me. He would have had to, I guess. Look at that pink. It was a example of really bad parenting on that day. When I blew that tire, I should have picked up and got the hell out of here. But I had made it all the way down here thinking this was a way to get out. An easier way to get out, because the way we came in was more difficult than I thought it would be. Look at this rock here. Look at the porousness of it. This was obviously... This has got to be volcanic rock. It's just got to be, right? Or maybe it had some crystallization and the crystals withered away. But that looks like gas was trapped in there. And usually the gas, when they're trapped in there, it's closer to the surface. Because the pressure below would push it all... Oh, this is a beautiful looking rock. Look at that. It's got kind of a interesting stripation there. So now what I'm going to do is make a left, which is the right way to go. We're going down this gentle incline on this bumpy road, this very rocky road. But right here, it takes a good dip. I mean, the first time I looked over this thing, this road here, I was apprehensive about going down. But this thing managed great. I mean, it's just a solid vehicle. You know, and I've never done any off-roading. Really. I mean, I've been off-road with cars. I never had one that had four-wheel drive. And I grew up on a hill, you know. And the street I actually lived on, half of it was paved, the half that I live on, and the other half was dirt. And the dirt part was carved into a very, very steep hill. And the road wasn't maintained. So it was a little sketchy, and anybody I ever took down that road who wasn't familiar with the neighborhood was terrified. But I've never done any off-roading other than, you know, here or there. So I'm not really all that familiar with it. I watched that, you know, Freiburger and Finnegan and Roadkill, and you know, sometimes I'll watch the Dirt Every Day, which is one of the Hot Rod magazine subcategories. I'm going to move this rock out of the road here. The fact that I took my son down this hill really leaves something to be desired in the parenting department. It really does. I mean, for some reason I was so stubborn. I was so sure I could get out of here easily. It's like, you know, you invested so much already, and going back, because it was a hot day. It wasn't, you know, I should let the wheels roll so we can stop sliding down the hill here. I was so invested in what I believed was going to be an easier way out. And by the time I realized it wasn't an easier way out, ever the optimist, I'm like, the exit's got to be right over the next corner, right over the next corner. And that kept on going, man. And finally I had to recognize the obvious. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know where the hell I was. I didn't know if there was any easier way to get out of here than the way we'd come in, which was not easy, but it was something I at least knew. And that's why I abandoned the trail, because I had to get out of here before dark. Because my son didn't want to stay here. We didn't have the proper tires. We were on a spare that, who knows, it could have been 20 years old or however old this car was. So, at the time. So it's just, you get this focus. You become obsessed. And, it's part of the reason that I've been as successful as I have, which is not particularly successful. I'm not particularly smart. I'm not a particularly good-looking guy, but when I put my mind to something, I just do it, no matter how frustrating, how hard. Rarely have I ever had to give up on something. And that same mentality can get you killed, really. I mean, in the wrong situation. So it's not the way to do it. Not the way to live one's life. When you're younger, that's different. You can take your chances there. But when you got somebody else dependent on you, you have no right to take. To become so reckless, really reckless with other people's lives. Be reckless with your own life to the extent that you can. If you're a parent, you have an obligation to stick around and give this kid the best life you're able to give him. But until then, until that obligation comes up, I've crashed a couple motorcycles. I dropped a couple motorcycles, I should say. I actually rolled under a truck once because I was young and dumb. And I always think about getting a motorcycle, and I just realized, Jesus, man, I'm too old for that now. And when it mattered is when you had it when you're young, and then you either you live or you don't. That's why I think it should be illegal to sell Porsches to old men. They should only be to young men. And if you kill yourself in your Porsche, hopefully you don't kill anybody else, but that's your business. I keep on seeing tire tracks here, so I'm very ambivalent about any chance of ever finding this trailer, quite frankly. Quite frankly, I don't know if I passed the destination where it would be anyway. Could have. I kind of don't remember this right here. I do remember it though. I know I stopped the car and I pulled out my pickaxe and I threw rocks over the side of this road right here. Pretty sure this is where it was. So yeah, we're still on good ground here. I'm gonna go home after today, assuming I get out of here today, which I may not. I actually don't have a good idea how to get out of here. I know I went back after the last time. Yeah, I was definitely on this road. I went back after the last time, and I pinpointed where I believed we were, and I saw that it was relatively close to a road, like a real road. Not necessarily paved, but one that's maintained. That comes up from the north, and obviously people come here once in a while. And there have been mining operations over here. I mean, that land over there, those mountains over there, the color on them, I assume, is a result of mining. And I know that the road that I'm thinking about goes right by a big mine that, I don't know what they're mining, but I don't know if it's gypsum or something, but it's very white powdery stuff, because it's just a big pit of it. So there it is, son of a bitch. There that trailer is. I cannot believe it. I am so freaking happy right now, and I don't know why. It's a piece of junk, and it's still right there. Unbelievable. License plate is still on it. The wheels are still on it. Doesn't even look like it's been opened. Unbelievable. They haven't even taken the hitch or anything. Nothing's changed. Nothing's moved. Unbelievable. Somebody put a rock in there. Huh. And a little dead lizard. There's a little dead lizard in there. Poor little guy. It was a trap, huh? Nothing's changed. I am incredulous. I'm incredulous. I hope that little lizard didn't get trapped in there and couldn't get out. And then died a miserable death. That slapstick wiring job I did. I should be embarrassed to create such poor quality work. So needless to say, I'm not going to frickin' haul out 35 gallons of water. I'm going to have to pound out that trailer license plate. I love this trailer because it's a piece of junk. I built a really pretty teardrop on it. And because projects come to me, projects that I do never die, I got frustrated with the teardrop trailer. And I took a sledgehammer to it out of frustration. And then I built this removable walls here, which are hideous, but I could take stuff to the dump with it. This thing has been out here all summer. It's been here for months. I mean, I'd have to go back and calculate how long it's been here, but it's been here for a while. So we'll get this thing hooked up and ready to go. All set and ready to go, people. There you got it. Let's see what happens. See if we can escape this desolate place. This is some of the most jagged rocks. I see a light of white up there. I think we're on the right path. I know that there is a mining operation up here somewhere, from what I recall. Almost looks like snow. Oh yeah. I've definitely seen this before on Google. And I see tire tracks ahead of us. It's like a pyramid of gypsum or whatever the heck that stuff is. Looks like a winter wonderland. Looks like a glacier, except there's no black pool underneath it with black silt. Looky, looky here, people, looky here. This is a maintained road. Oh yeah, it is. EP Minerals, open pit mine, stay out. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Now we're on pavement. That was quick. This is Highway 399. Paved lines. We're back to civilization, people. Today has been a very hard, but a good day, ultimately. Of course, this car is running beautifully. Tap the old V8 there.